Hello and welcome to a groundbreaking, monumentous,
it's a crazy,
earth-shattering.
Yeah,
it's the 50th episode.
It's the 50th episode, Dave. Like, you and me have literally been sitting here.
We've
and
talked
going about other
for
things.
so many hours. It's got to the point there are 50 episodes of this now,
and there are still people listening. It's bonkers, and it's crazy. So
the dedication and
perseverance,
flagellation of some people that have listened to all 50 episodes. We salute you.
Yeah,
I mean,
bolder
the brave, the few, the determined. I mean, really fantastic.
Man, it's been so much fun, like, as well, like, that's the thing, like, it flew by when it was, like, actually pointed out to us that it was coming up to the 50th episode.
Yeah.
It was, like, I think it was
Phil
posted it out
I knew it was coming, but at the same time, it's more like, you're kind of like, you don't think you're ever going to get to 50.
Yeah. Right? That's half of 100.
That's half
and now
of
it's
100.
like, are we going to do 100?
No, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
That's my immediate reaction.
I don't know whether... Yeah,
that's like, I have no idea.
There's only so much that we can really...
Yeah, I mean, we're idiots,
we're not very smart people, and we're not going to, like, I don't know. We'll keep going, I think, for the time being.
We're having a good time. Right?
We're having a good time. We're having
a really good time.
We'll keep going. Right, so for our 50th episode, we've decided that some listener questions would be fun to get us through.
And we got some really good ones. Like all of them were great, right? And it's like...
So basically, we talked about it. We put up... actually, we've been streaming recently. So if you wanted to watch our very infrequent streamers, I'm Dave the LARPer.
And I'm Ian the LARPer.
Ian the LARPer.
As you can see.
So that's fun. So we've been doing some streaming of crafting and things like that. That's been good.
That's been really good fun. And
we had Merlin on last week. That was awesome. Guests.
Yes.
That's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Guests.
People with more charisma than you and me.
Man, we're so original coming up with these fantastic ideas.
No, it's been great. The actual streaming stuff's been really good fun. I mean, especially at this point, right?
I've really enjoyed it, especially with like quarantine and like
everything. All
of that jazz. It's been really good for us to kind of, obviously, because we haven't been able to go and LARP this year, and potentially we might not be able to LARP this year, which is
and potentially even on into next year. And it's crazy to think.
Don't say that.
I know. It's crazy to think.
I'm filling that LARP-shaped void in my life with other terribly expensive hobbies, which I'm going to be doing a YouTube channel about. I'll probably post it on Facebook. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, but I'm going to do some YouTube stuff. So that's kind of trying to keep me occupied, and it's been a funny time, hasn't it? Like my hype for LARP has stayed pretty high, I would say, compared to a lot of people. But when it has dipped, and when it's dipped, it's like, oh my god, like we might not get to LARP this year, really.
I guess for me, it's less dipped, but it's dipped emotionally into like the disappointment of the fact that I don't get to do the thing that I really, really fucking love doing with people who I love doing it with. Right?
It's also like time passes and your plans. It's rough to keep like a plan from going from the last event of a year, going all the way through the long dark, and then keeping that hype for that send-off that you had, that feeling that you're like, oh, this is going to be my big priority coming back in 6 months' time. I've got all this time to plan it. That's fine. But now we're getting on to like, it could be
who knows?
2 years, man.
Well, I mean, who knows? I mean, the crazy thing as well with that is just how awesome the LARP community's actually been. Like, think of all of I've watched a bunch of like the videos that people have done around, especially the Songs and Story ones, obviously podcasts, which is just like they made it happen.
Yeah, so there's been like a few really, really good streams and just showing off like how great LARP is. Like Songs and Stories, there was the fundraiser for the theatre. Hefty Yeti, huge shout to him. Let me put it this way. You know who he is at this stage, right? He's been doing streaming Hefty Yeti. He has some really good guests on. He's been doing... He's the hero we need right now. We don't deserve him, but he's the hero we need.
And good quality and pretty regular content, right?
Which has been great. Good fun. I think
I really value it. It's been useful for me, like, to see a lot of these.
I learned things.
Yeah, dude. Like, and that's the thing. We're like, we are morons, right?
Yeah.
To understand. I mean, like, we've been picking up skills and stuff, and it's crazy to think that when we've been doing our crafting streams. Mm-hmm. like people are watching it and stuff.
Oh, we should talk about Scoop, man, because one of the people that was watching you doing your stream on how to do crafting decided that he was going to do it and take it up as well.
Yeah,
and now he's like well on his way, and it's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, Shoop's been fantastic. That's Ace of Shoop on Twitch. Yeah, no, he's been really good. Like, and it's been. Because this whole thing, by the way, is like some Lamlar armor. I'm trying to make a technique that I've kind of come up on, which I think is pretty good and pretty cheap way of basically making armor.
Yeah,
and that's what sort of started the project.
It's basically like if you want to look at like leather armor, basically, none of it's cheap.
Yeah,
right. Like if you're going to buy like a chest piece of some description, the cheapest you're going to get is like £150. And even then, it might not be exactly what you're after.
I mean, even if you go to just like the basic torso stuff with like not bad, but fairly plain kind of thick 3mm leather or something, it's going to be £80 minimum, and then, right?
The other thing I like about the armor is it's made up of small plates. So basically, instead of having to, if you're not a very confident crafter, which I'm definitely not, the idea of like buying in a large piece of thick leather, which you and then crafting with it is quite scary.
So, no, it's scary. Like that's the thing. As I've kind of gone through crafting, it's having like when you start using an expensive material or material that has some kind of sacrifice to it, it's when you actually get the confidence to use that material, it's a nice stage in your development, because you're like, I think I've got to the grips where I'm willing to essentially take the risk on this expensive material I'm using.
Yeah, definitely.
But all of that said, I did want to produce this project that was about making something cheap, affordable, and that still looks in, I think, a relatively good quality.
I think it's really great. Like, I'm doing it as well, so I'm building my own bit of armour.
And it's been really valuable having you guys do it, right? Having the idea of bouncing off a fairly dumb idea, I guess, like to see like if it can work.
I think it's been nice how it's been like a creative feedback loop where like you put it out there, Shoop started doing it, which is fantastic. I've picked it up now, and it's kind of like what are we doing? Like we did a stream, and then that made Ace want to get back into it again because he wanted to. Yeah, and it's just like it's cool to help motivate each other, because I think like if you're just by yourself standing statically, then you might not get.
And I think there's
done.
been a lot of people in all parts, sort of sectors of the community, that have done a lot of giving of their time and their, in a sense, really their love, right? Like a lot of people have been really kind of spending their time to put out sort of good feelings across the community, and I think that's been really, really good.
It's a scary time, right? It really is.
Yeah.
So
anyway, we do have questions.
Yes. Right. Yeah, so we basically put on Facebook and asked people if there were any questions to help us get through this, because obviously there's no LARP at the moment, so there's a limit to how much we can actually talk about without going over shit we've talked about already, really. But we asked for some questions, and we got some absolute crackers, I think you'll agree, Ian. So, do you want to start?
Should we start? Yeah, we'll start at the top. So we've got what you thought LARP would be at the start compared what it turned out to be.
Yeah, that's from Daniel.
That's from Daniel,
Daniel Wild. What do you think LARP would be at the start compared to how it turned out to be?
So it's tough,
interesting,
isn't it? Because
I think we talked about this on like the first episode. I remember what I said was, if you think something's going to be red and it turns out to be brown, is it better or worse?
Yes.
Like there's a lot of stuff that I had that just kind of like, I knew what I was getting into, but actually experiencing it was a very different like thing, right?
Those first few moments when you're really you really aren't in Kansas anymore. Yeah. Right? And it's like it's fantastic, but it's
a lot.
It's a lot, right?
Yeah, like also trying to find your place in that. Like it's kind of like I've revealed new aspects to LARP. Like that, I think that's what it's not. I don't think there's one thing. I think it's so dense at this stage because it's not only from being completely new and what I thought it was going to be, which was, what did I think it was going to be? I think at worst, I think it was going to be like a really nerdy, like really antisocial. I would feel out of place. I'd feel like my kit was really bad. So I don't know whether that's really, but they're all kind of like anxious thoughts.
Anxieties.
So I don't know whether that's an expectation, but I think like I was definitely disasterizing my first event.
Yeah, I think.
But the reason why we still went through it and did it was because of the potential, right? To have like, I think I wanted like 2 or 3 moments where I really was like lost in the character, right? And I think we achieved that. I think we've always achieved that, and I think that's a good goal. And I would say when those levels of immersion hit, you might not even realize it's happening at the time. So it doesn't have to be something that's conscious, but then maybe after like, I think it was we did a couple of skirmishes, and that kind of locked in the idea of actually doing it. Like a bit of combat really helped get me into the idea
that was,
of
for both of us. Combat was, I think, a really because it's such it's such a high stakes thing, right? Because you're immediately putting yourself into something that it necessarily needs to invoke a response from your character, and obviously it's like an active response as well, right?
But it's also like, I think there's also, you can get your adrenaline up as well. I think there's many aspects to why. In fact, the
combats are great for us. I think it was a really good
It also builds a group mentality with the people around you, right? Like, so you go through something stressful together, and you're all wearing it's the same with the music, right?
And you can meet people as well, and like there could be those people you fight alongside, and very quickly a relationship between two people can be formed.
A lot about different characters in Navarre through going on skirmishes and fights. We understood hierarchies, we understood who were the key faces, we understood who leaders were, we understood who to look to for help. I think that's like you interact, it's an opportunity to interact, right?
No, yes, it's great.
So did we answer that question?
I'm not sure we really did, but it was...
How is it? Okay, I would say that I learned something new most times I go to Empire now. Like weird stuff like when you look at your own storyline, then you realise, like, the weird thing is when it mirrors your own personality, what you're going through at the time. That's what I find weird about RP sometimes. So, I would say I've learned a lot from going to LARP about myself. So I think it's, I'm a complete LARP advocate now, right? So
I mean, and I think, like, I guess I was aware that I would enjoy it and that it could be potentially awesome and something that we could really get into, but I didn't really have a concept for how into it I would get, I guess is what I mean. Like, I thought the hobby would grab me when I find myself grabbing the hobby a lot more, because it's just a really crazy thing to sort of delve into and explore.
Also, I didn't really get here's one thing I was thinking while you're talking, how intense certain things can be, right? Like maybe, like I knew that I would be acting a certain way, but the true, people call it bleed, and I'm not saying there are aspects of this that are bleed, but also like, is bleed when you're watching a TV show and you cry at a moment, or you sit up on the edge of your seat and you're enjoying the narrative? Is that bleed? Because I feel like sometimes it's similar. I'm still playing the role and getting to enjoy it, but like, I can lose myself in a moment through acting a certain way, and I think that's really exciting sometimes.
And it can challenge you as an individual in how you're going to react to that moment, and then reflect on the reaction.
Yes, the reflection on things that had happened is something that I really enjoy about it.
And the cool thing about it is that because it's LARP and because it's a fantasy setting and it's all not real, you can turn it on and off in all kinds of different ways, and all that you've got like an editing booth and you can use all the sliders and you know exactly what you're doing. It's it can be really cool to actually be able to express yourself that way, and that's something that LARP offers you, which is very unique. I mean, it's an enormous question, right? But hopefully that's an answer, right? Daniel again, he asked advice for folks wanting to go to LARP, but you've learned advice to folk wanting to get into LARP that you've learned since doing it. Right, so go on. You're about to... I think like there's all the common sort of sense stuff in a way, all the stuff you're going to get when you post on any kind of new player forum, and like, what are the things I need, and it's going to be things like socks, and then probably a few more socks, but along the way you're going to get all the advice to stay hydrated and all those kind of things. But then there's also, then you get to more technical advice about kit that you should bring, and then you get into more technical than that advice of kit maybe that is cheap and you can buy. And one thing that like I think like the stuff from Wish that I kind of got was like, it's a shame that I sort of did, like, that I did that, and I did that for a reason at the time. It's just that's like,
I think there's like, especially when you're first getting into the hobby, a lot of the expenses, and I actually think like, if you want to go really cheap, to see one event, then I think that's worthwhile. But understand what you're doing is potentially that money's just gone because you might not want to wear the cheap stuff again. But just to get you on a field, and I understand like that as an initial expense, it's a lot,
and that's exactly why we did it, right? Like, so that would be like one thing, because I think when I was kind of fresh into it, I thought, oh, okay, that's a good thing. But like over time, I think. But then, as you say, I wouldn't have done it any differently.
No,
so
I would say like going mentally. Right, like, and I think all the stuff that you just said was really, really brilliant, right? About like socks, and it's you. Yes, you will find all that advice printed everywhere. Attitude. We always like the expression. Just say yes. That's easier said than done sometimes, which is the interesting thing. But I would say like the attitude you bring to LARP is what you get out, right? Like, and I think that happens a lot of times where people who necessarily aren't comfortable or confident can sometimes, if they really throw themselves into it, then they can be rewarded for that, right?
Yeah, totally. And it's the ability to sort of be able to go and just like, you'll have those moments where you kind of feel like the experience is like you want to withdraw from the experience or whatever, and you just want to chill out or whatever, and then that's totally fine. And then you can fade back in and do something else. Yeah,
and it's more like it will come.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's a lot of this stuff, like, I think when we had the time in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you expect something to happen immediately, like it's a computer game or a movie where someone comes running in and gives you a plot point, and then you're like, oh, way, plot point. Do you know what I mean? Whereas it's much more subtle than that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you kind of make the game. If you talk to someone, if you don't know someone, go and ask something.
Yeah,
that's another piece of advice I would say. Just ask around.
Yeah, and the whole game is a social game, right? So there is the element of just exploring all of these fantastic characters that exist around you.
Most of the time, if you're asking a question, unless the person's crazy busy, most people are. If they don't know, they'll probably let you know.
Yeah.
But really, it's a good way to interact with somebody. Nobody's going, oh, I hate it when this person's asking me a question, so I get free RP out of them, right? Everyone else is looking for be the generator of RP, right? Like, you don't have to go around stabbing people to do that. There's lots of other ways, right?
And then from that, if you come to me and you're asking for help, and I say I can help you, but I know someone, we can go and do something together.
I'm not good at this, but then you give a name.
Yeah.
That's one thing I like, is like when I get given, oh, I want to learn about this. Well, I don't know, this is all I know on this, but if you really want to talk to someone that's about it, go to this tent and talk to this person.
Yeah.
You arrive there, and then you ask for someone's name. When someone shows up to your camp and asks for your name in character, because something's happening in game, and you are relevant to the conversation.
Yeah.
And you're like, when it first happens, you're like, are you sure you're looking for me? Because there must have been some sort of mistake. I am not important enough to warrant anyone coming to look for me. Yeah. But then you hear, like, someone said, I think it was like I was walking down Murder Alley. It's the middle of the day, and there was some people walking past, and they were like, "Do you know where the Ashbourne camp is?"
Yeah,
and I was like, "Well, at first I was like, well, who's asking? Obviously, you don't want to be.
You want to give all the cards.
You want to be a little bit careful.
This is Navarre."
And they were like, I came to find it was my character's name.
Oh wow, okay.
And they wanted me to tell the story of something to do with the Ashbourne or to do with the Entwined Paths. I think they were Dornish actually. And then so I was like in a massive hurry to do something else, and I was like, well, it's a cool story, but basically had a bit of chat, and then everyone came round. I think those people actually became Navarre by the end of the weekend.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah,
I think that's pretty cool. So. I would say like generating game and feel confident to ask questions, because that is generating game, and then you'll probably find out more about people's opinions on things and all sorts.
And your experience will just be all the richer.
Yeah. All right, next question, Ian.
Yeah. So, what makes it such a special hobby? I mean, we almost kind of captured that in some of the previous answers. Definitely. But
I could. I mean, again, a really wide open question. It's depending on how I want to, what I'm thinking about at the time, because I think there's many, many different things that make it really special for me. I mean, I'd like to do more LARP.
Yeah,
I still feel like we're still on our junior legs, as it were, to what's out there and what can be experienced and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially having like not LARPing this year so far.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, I miss it, dude.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like
heavily. And like it's kind of been sad, you know, when the event date rolls round and you're like, and obviously, you know, it's just already been cancelled, right? But you just can still see the fucking event date.
We had so many plans already, right? Like, like we've still got the light armory sword that we're trying to give away, right? And it's just been in my spare room. Like I've been looking after it, folks. Don't worry about a thing. But it's more like I really want to get like an episode where we actually go LARPing to give it away and promote it, right?
And that's how we wanted to do it because
I mean, it's ridiculous. But I've also bought my new staff.
Yeah,
I've bought like that thing, a couple of bits of kit.
Yeah,
I'm making armor now. It's like I'm excited to get LARPing again, dude.
Yeah, and when it all went into lockdown, it was such an interesting potential point for my character.
I just want to say I completely understand. By the way, that with the quarantine is and how dangerous the virus is to make it. Yes. I didn't state that just to. Yeah. So yes, it's extremely dangerous. I completely understand. I think PD are right to do what they've done so far.
Of course,
100%. In fact, like even if E4 is on, it's still a big question whether I would go or not, right? But this is a much wider conversation. But just to make that completely clear, Ian, your character just before quarantine.
Yeah, for me it was like I've spoken about this a couple of times, but there was a lot going on with my character on the build up to that, and the fact it was going to be Urizen player event that was very kind of focal in terms of what my character's kind of core motivations are at the point he is. It was going to be such a heavy.
Ian, your character was at that beautiful point in like in one of the Fire and Ice saga, the Game of Thrones books, where a character gets to the end of their current arc.
Yeah,
that character has two choices.
Yeah,
it can change, or it dies.
Yes,
there's the character's two options, and you were in that place when we were going off that castle. We both knew that only one of us might have been coming back again, and that wasn't going to be me. No, that was going to be me. Yeah. But like, that was. I mean, we all knew.
We knew. Oh yeah. I was like,
I expected a tunnel.
Yeah.
Things to go south.
Flashy lights.
Gellert looks over. Talis looks up. Help me, brother. And then Gellert says nothing. And turns and walks away. I mean, what a way to go. The betrayal. But did he deserve it? And he'll be lying there in the darkness as life ebbs away, contemplating his actions.
Yeah. Man, it was,
But that didn't happen. It hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened. And I'm not sure, like, as well, it's interesting to think about, because obviously, essentially, in-game time is freezed. As frozen, sorry. So that's kind of like, how does that make things happen? Because it's difficult because time has passed for me as a human being between the 2 points now. So I don't know. Again, maybe I'll be reassessing where Talis is actually going into whatever the first event is.
I feel like it's been such a. Okay, so the throne is still up for grabs. There's loads of game around that, and I think that's going to be how it is. You as an individual, I mean, are they going to run another player event before we get to go and do another Empire event? That's a good question because of the sizes and all that stuff. I mean,
well, I imagine player events will be, because it could be certain groups of people able to congregate and so on. I honestly don't know.
It's so tough to say, and who knows? Like things with the virus could get worse again. So anyway, Jesus.
So we had a question from Phil Forrester. Do you want to
shout out to Phil as always? If you could play in any other nation for one event with no consequences to your current character, like a Freaky Friday character swap, which nation would you play in? Fucking love that question, dude.
Yeah,
absolutely love that question. I also like the way that you're like, I like the Freaky Friday aspect because we can kind of do it and not have to stay there.
Yeah.
So it's like that for me suddenly feels weirdly appealing.
Yes.
Just to be like, I'm gonna. So this isn't the nation I particularly maybe want to play next.
Yeah.
But just to have a Freaky Friday situation and
just throw yourself into
winter market the fuck up for a weekend.
Well, that's the weird thing, like, because my mind goes all over the place when you ask that question. With that stipulation that it's a Freaky Friday situation.
Go on.
With that stipulation, my mind instantly goes everywhere because, like. A nation like Varushka, Ian, which is my natural.
You sounded like you were just about to be really. You were going to go. My mind immediately gets to everything, and you're like, for fuck's sake, I thought you were going to be like really specific and say something like Dawn.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
and but so naturally, in my mind, if the question was expanded, would go like, do I want to play something like Varushka? That's a natural draw to me, like that kind of aesthetic and that and stuff just really massively appeals to me. It was the nation I probably wanted to play, just purely on character plays before we picked what our nation was going to be.
Interesting, yeah, cool.
But as time's gone on, like my mind also goes like, but I could play in the Brass Coast.
Fuck yeah, you could play in the Brass Coast.
Like the Brass Coast could be a lot of fun.
They're like the cool cats, aren't they? They
so
really
cool.
are. They're like I
always feel
like I totally feel undercool when I go to the.
Yeah.
I feel like such a kind of because Navarre's like especially the
dirty
Navar's
griminess,
dirty griminess. I'm kind of like all battle armored up, and they're just kind of like chilling in Sahara. What the silk outfits called or whatever.
Yeah.
Like and they just look like. They're just the cool cats.
The outfits are just really colourful.
So awesome.
Bear in mind, like compared to us, of course, it's way brighter. It's way kind of there's a lot more splendour to it.
Like when we went to the for Ifan's funeral, whatever the hell you would call that, his death.
Yes.
And we went to see the Coctopus play.
Yeah.
I mean, what a fucking show, dude!
Yeah.
Like
everything,
oh my goodness.
all of it, right? Everything that was pulled together.
The nature of the event, and it was just, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. What a way to go! I was surrounded by my friends, laughing, penises in my face. Fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh,
but then
I'd love to talk to those people again, actually. I haven't really been in contact with them. That's something to think about.
Yeah, but then again, my mind also shoots off to like...
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I've had just an idea. Yeah, anyway, keep going.
Do I go even more ridiculous and go, follow that chain out further of, like, the kind of... the super cool kids kind of thing and like hype that up to get to the thing where it's like I play a leaguishman and a leaguish kind of
see I don't have I'm not smart enough
I'm
to
not
be a leaguer.
no that's the thing I don't think I could pull off a leaguishman, you know what I mean?
They would see me coming a mile off.
I'm not a leaguishman kind of personality type.
I don't know.
Like, well, maybe
I think if you settled in there, maybe not first event Ian, but you give that a year, you're all over that, pulling strings and all sorts.
Yeah, I could see myself.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're like you're Rick James off those Dave Chappelle videos. You're like, no, I'd never join them, and then you're like 2 seconds later, you're like, yeah, I would join the league.
That'd be good fun. But but then there's also, as you said, Wintermark suddenly pops up as well because there's all those really sometimes because Wintermark being the biggest nation, I think there's the natural thing when something is the biggest nation in terms of population or anything like that. But when something is numerous. And this happens with all things.
But you know what's funny? People look at Navarre like that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like Navarre's obviously a big nation, right? Like I don't know how big it is now. I feel like it's I think all nations are great. It's just fucking huge. But I don't feel like I'm lost within that nation. Do you know what I mean? Like it's funny. So maybe it's a similar vibe with Wintermark. I don't know. An awful lot of the game that we have isn't on a national level.
Yeah.
It's on a very kind of group basis. And our group, the Entwined Paths, I mean, like we're quite a big group now. There's people that I enjoy hanging out with and having conversation with, enjoy RPing with in just that group.
Yeah.
If the rest of the whole thing could be window dressing, I would enjoy interacting with my own group.
I think like what I mean though is more that like the scale of the nation can make you naturally think, oh, I'll be something smaller. Yeah. I think sometimes when you see big things, sometimes what you want in the face of that is like a smaller nation or a different sort of experience or whatever it is. Sometimes that sort of pops up. But the cool thing is, on a Freaky Friday kind of thing, I can then also be like, yeah, I'd love to be part of like this really interesting sort of nation that has these 3 different cultures that are part of it. And do I go like full like feathers and everything and go Calabasas or go Suak and
if it is Freaky
Friday,
you get decked up in all like the sumac stuff and you're like just like this wicked kit and you've got like a harpoon and you're just fucking full on hard out Semasuak. Fuck yes, that'd be amazing. I think it's funny like my ideas about some of the things I'm worried about trying out are just kit.
Yeah.
Because it's a big commitment to try and join in, right?
Like, it'd be so much fun to just, like, again, Freaky Friday, to be able to be, like, a full-on Dornish person, right? Like, and in all the ridiculous armour, and right?
If you were going to be, like, full plate...
Yes.
You get one of your mates to be your, like, your serving guy, whatever what do they call them?
You could do such a cool comedy duo.
Fuck yes, can you imagine, like...
Like, he'll literally buff your shoes.
Imagine me and Callum... But either of us, it doesn't matter which role is which. If Callum's the knight in full plate armour and I'm his surly steward, or vice versa, it would be the best fun. I think people would enjoy it, and we would just have an absolute blast, especially on the battlefield. Just being like, glory! And then charging around and just being... And, like, whoever's, like, the steward trying to keep the guy alive and just like, oh, man,
But it's also, like, Super is, like... He's out for the best interest of the guy.
They're buddies, right?
He's like he always walks into place like so and so would like to sit here.
Yeah,
you know, and then you like prepare the thing.
Maybe
for
you
him.
have a tiny little trumpet. So every time you arrive somewhere, you like do a little toot and then introduce the person.
Yes. So obnoxiously like
ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the Right Honourable Lord Howard Hart or whatever.
It's so good.
I don't know whether that's on canon or lore at all. This if it clearly shows if you are a Dawn player, and I'm like just, I don't know anything about Dawn. I know they yell glory a lot. I know they have a glory square. I know they have to do oaths. Don't they? They have to do something to become these feats that seem pretty suicidal.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a good time. High Guard.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's also like...
I like the hand washing. Very, if it was going to be my first event back.
Yeah. I think like High Guard is because it's like in a way, and this is true of all the different nations, it's just where your mind kind of goes with it. But when I go with High Guard in my mind and what I would like to explore there, I guess it's much more intense things because you can have those kind of grim, dark things, which I know is a bit of a cliche that is kind of used for High Guard sometimes, but it's like actually it's just really interesting, right?
I've been there to go and get information about certain things, and the people there really they take it seriously. And the people, all of our stuff's anecdotal, obviously, but I had really good experiences there. Orcs. I mean, fuck. I don't know. Yeah. I think this is like all of this is fun, but fuck. I don't know. Like, if there was a situation where I could literally choose, I don't know.
Well, like for example, I mean, there's character possibilities that like I could, in some potential way, end up or finish off in Urizen. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and it's like.
Well, I think that's really interesting as well. I find Urizen interesting as a as a nation because it's so small. Yeah. Right. Like it's poor Urizen is at the butt of like jokes all the time about Urizen are here, all two of them.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's mean. Right.
Yeah.
Like Urizen they're a cool nation. Yeah. They're full of cool people. Yeah. I would actively encourage people to go and at least go and RP with them.
Have a go.
The problem is, like, look at poor Urizen, right? Urizen are there. Like, imagine like these new Urizen players, and then they go, they hear everyone in the camp. Songs and story time. And then they go to fateful songs and story time. They have a great time and they dance in the woods. And then they go back and it's just like, poor Urizen. Urizen needs like a recruitment drive of some type. You know what I mean? Like,
I think the players actually do a really good job with the Urizen camp because I've spent a lot of time kind of in it. But obviously, every nation wants more players, right? And I think like you just want more players because you want more people and more interactions, right?
I like
more people
makes it more
interesting. It's been great.
But anyway, shall we move on to another question from Phil? The best thing you have purchased, worst thing you have purchased.
Yeah.
Should we do worst first to get the negative out of the way?
Yeah.
Anything from Wish. Those shirts from Wish were absolute garbage.
Trash. Trousers were even worse.
Just like shiny, thin, awful. Like with that weird ribbon that you use for like the
tying
ties.
The neckline,
I mean, awful.
Yeah.
Awful stuff. Yeah. That looked so. The fabrics were artificial.
Yeah.
There was no.
Yes.
Ugh. Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, but again, this is why I was talking about it earlier. It's like one of those things where it's like it got me to my first session.
Yeah, I find like the difference. So there are some still cheap.
There's better cheap alternatives.
Yes,
is what I would say
exactly.
But right? I was kind of ignorant of that fact at the time.
You don't know. You don't know, right? And I think that's the danger of a lot of mistakes were made. Yes. But that was one thing I would definitely say. If the question is, what's the worst thing you ever got?
Yeah.
Bam. That is the worst thing I've ever got. Best thing you ever got.
This is a tough one, actually.
Oh, I've actually I was so like, this is the one thing. No, it still is the one thing. Okay, I'm gonna do mine.
Yeah, you do yours.
My shield.
Yeah.
That's like.
Yeah.
it means the most to me. It was made by my friend Robert. It means the world to me. It has our like the design is something that I worked out with Robert. That it's got our striding symbol on the front of it. It means a lot to me. I got it when Ifan died because of the new kit curse. I mean, it killed Ifan, but I still love it.
It's a great piece as well. It's like there's character in it. It
stands out. It's my individual thing that makes me like OC me on the field, right? Like that's what identifies me, and I love it, right? I want that to carry weight with it, right?
It's
I
great. Completely agree.
It's not only practical, but it looks great. So I absolutely love it. Maybe the tent, just because of what the tent represents. But it's whenever I bought some stuff of light armor. It's not light armor. It's fucking armchair armories. Which is run by the guys who do the Orcs Planet stuff, Andy and Matt. I got a couple of pendants from them. And we've actually done an order with them. But we'll get to that later because young Matthew is still working on them. But we've ordered a couple of bits there. Won't go into it too much. Really exciting.
Yeah, for us it's cool.
So that's another thing that I'm excited by. I mean, my first axe. Long rest its soul. But absolutely love it. So I think it's really hard to say. Definitely the shield, but there are other things that have meant a lot to me that have added to my character. You know,
I think the tent is one that when you get to the core of it is like just because the tent, of course, is a place where so many awesome memories are focused around. That's one thing, but. Like the thing is, maybe there are ways of having a thing where you camp OC and you have the same experience, and that's just my.
But then, like each time, like the awning. Well, the awning when it came was the greatest thing ever. It changed everything. Like having seating outside when it's dry, a decent fire. Because the first event we went to, when it was really really cold, we didn't have fire, and it just froze our balls off. Like, I think, So.
That's all that for camp, but for me as a character,
go on.
And it's kind of a bit of a cheat, but I guess for me as a character, it would be the stuff I needed to make my steel set of Lamlar. When I bought that, that's the best thing I ever bought because it made me do something that challenged myself in ways for an end product for a hobby that I love. Right. It challenged me in ways that actually revealed aspects of who I am that I've grown to like, right? So like that again,
dude. It's. I mean, I think that's actually quite a good call. I like the symbology of it as well. That it's like that's what kind of pushed you over into a much more productive, creative state, which I think is like when you talked about what the first question, like what has surprised you over what you learned about. Dude, we could write a book on it at this stage, right? Like it's some of the OC effects that LARPing can have. And I will repeat this again. I repeat it every time. It's not therapy. Don't go there with serious issues or anything like that, or anything that you want to... It's not like that. But for me, in retrospect, I learn loads about myself. I can get emotionally affected by something and then realise why it had such an emotional effect on me, because it probably resonates somewhere else in my real life personality. And that is, I mean, it's fucking phenomenal, basically. Anyway, before we get too bogged down, young George Hatfield asked us a question. Tell us the story of the hero of Brokeliand. Your favourite moments from battle, or your favourite role-playing moments of all time. There's a lot in that one question there, George.
I think we've kind of... The hero Brokeliand story's been done in a couple of places. I'm not feeling mean today, so I'm not gonna go into it either. But it's the story of a great hero.
Yes, if you would like to hear this, I think it should be something like, I think we should say it.
You can find it on other.
But
things,
I see now. If you want to hear the story, then come up and just ask. It's a nice in as well.
That's cool. That's a cool idea, actually.
That's a cool idea.
Find a IC for that. That would be kind of cool.
Just ask any of the Ashbourne for the story of the hero of Brokeliand. I'm sure someone will give you a version of that story. Your favourite battle moments from battle. I've got a couple of these because this one question is really interesting, right? There's a couple of bits,
and it changes as well because there's different favourite bits from battle in different moments, right? So, because for example, like would seeing all the different nations splaying out before you
scouting,
being obviously identifiable as those nations.
Yeah,
like you can see the empire on the field. That's not really necessarily a battle. It's not an in-battle moment, but it's an incredible moment.
That did happen to me with the being a runner.
Yeah,
and that's only fairly recently. But that feeling of like mobilizing with the army.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool, and like that chaos aspect when there's like engagements happening, but everyone's still maneuvering. Like the casualness of death.
Yeah,
like you're watching something, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is terrible.
They're taking a walloping,
but no one's. Shouldn't we be panicking? Why am I the only one feeling this way?
Flying out of the forest that time, and we lost the whole flank, and I was in that craziness, and you were on the outside.
It's like a scene of Joanna Crombie when the army goes in the woods. Yeah. You've got no idea what's going on, and you can hear the sound of battle, and 2 seconds later, the entire force is
madness.
They're bolted. There's no holding them. The whole army's running out. We lost one of Lloyd's characters in that, right? Yeah, I like the war rhinos. I remember seeing the war rhinos for the first time. Any of those big
things.
The first time we went on like a skirmish and saw etacamps.
Yeah,
and the all that craziness in the woods.
I was actually going to say, like, as well, a big key one for me, I think, is the very first battle that we went on with Darius, like that skirmish that we went on, where it was like with the fucking orcs and the Valorn, and then like they end up all fighting each other. It was so cool.
It was bonkers. Also, like
that skirmish had everything. I think that may still be one of my favourite skirmishes.
Yeah, I feel like I've lost my skirmish balls, man.
Yeah,
like it's weird. Like when I show up, and there's quite hard to get into because there's a lot of people.
I've been thinking about this, and I'm going to try and commit to more of that.
I would like to try. I'd like to, and also with someone like Darius, someone that we can really have fun with it and make it something special. If we're going to stand in line, because I've come out of the line way more times in the last year, maybe.
That's experience to a part as well.
But it's also like I want to give other people an opportunity to play. Right? So when people, like, whenever we always do it.
Yeah.
Darius comes by, someone walks up and goes, "They're this many, too many. Who's up for stepping out the line?"
Yeah.
And I look at Darius and I just go to him like, "Dude, like, we're up. We're done.
Yeah.
Either we all do this together, type thing, like, but let's to give other people the opportunity to play." I would like it to be something. I definitely want to get involved in a skirmish. Maybe it's because of the longest dark.
No, I think it's part of that. But also, like, I've got to go on some skirmishes with
You get to roll the dice.
Yeah,
you get to be like, I've got all this icy character stuff going on, but fuck it, I'm going out with my homeboys and we're going to go and wreck some fools, right?
Yeah,
and just
and also,
have a great time with it.
Like the idea that you can have all of this effort and all this like stuff invested in your character, and you can go out with the idea that all of that could come to an end.
Okay, there's a problem though. Yeah. We're being disingenuous because I will still today. What was that one that we heard about? We went up there and went, "Are you looking for people for a skirmish?" Like, yeah. What are you fighting? It was like, it was dark.
Yes.
And they were like witches or wraiths. Was it wraiths?
Yeah, and you needed to be like anointed, and you had to have like special stuff. And I think the whole point
was the first team got massacred, and you're going out on the second team that's made up of parts of the first team. And we were just like, "Nah, do you know what?
Yeah,
I think we'll just better go for a pint."
Yes,
I think that's like, because the problem is that sometimes the really bad ones,
the squeaky ones,
the ones where you need definitely a fresh pair of underpants after getting onto the battlefield, then off again. I mean, like it's a pant-filling exercise, some of those, right?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. But, so yeah, there is a limit.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go on a nice Valorn hunt, or maybe go and, like, try and rescue some hostages off some Druge, guard a trade thing with the Grendel, any of that crap.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I'm up for it.
Yeah.
You want to send me out in the dark against things that just go, boop, you're now dead, bye. No, I'm all right. I'm okay.
I'm all right.
I don't need that shit in my life. No.
But some of those skirmishes, like, so I go to the first one, and a moment from the first one, of course, for me was when that Dryad came around the side and took me down.
Yeah.
And then you got me up, and this was like the first time.
I would say that was the start of me going full Ithan. I was so stuck into the enemy, and I was also the last man out.
Yeah.
Like, again and again and again.
Yeah.
And it was like, we have to make rushes through, like, the line had broken, we had to make a rush through confused enemies that haven't noticed that we're behind them to try and get back to our line. Fucking phenomenal.
Yes.
Just choosing to be brave.
Yeah.
Just being like, I'm going to make a conscious decision to really be aggressive and put myself forward and be the person that's holding the line. is a wonderful feeling. I know it's out of like the innocence of not having lost my character before. But fucking hell, Ifan had a good run, man. When you have a funeral and everyone's just saying he was a reckless son of a bitch, you know you've absolutely ridden that fucking car to the wheels fell off. Like Ifan was like the Blues Brothers car at the end of the Blues Brothers, where they rock up in Chicago and they stop the car and they all get out, and then every single wheel, doorway, panel, engine, everything just pop off this car, and it's just this smouldering wreck. That was the end of Ifan Ashbourne, and it was fucking awesome. So all of that shit. I miss Ifan when it comes to... That's what's interesting. I miss Ifan when it comes to fighting now. I'm gonna have a lot more fun. Also, I think rejoining the Entwined Paths. Yeah. I think that would be something I'm looking forward to doing as well. I need to think about that. That's a bigger conversation. Your favourite role moments of all time. Do you have a favourite roleplay moment of all time? That's interesting.
That is interesting.
I think you loved playing poker.
I did. That was... The thing is, a lot of them are simply like setting related things that sometimes you can just get so lost in a setting. Like an obvious one for me is when I thought I was going to be assassinated. I saw the people around the fire, and everyone started tooling up because everybody thought that you thought
these assassins were out here to kill someone.
Exactly right. And it was just the way that the whole my whole section of the songs and stories circle was starting to like move weapons into positions and things, and it was just, and then nothing happened. So that was a really cool. It wasn't explicit role play. It was just implied role play.
Dude, that's 100% role play.
Yeah,
dude, that's But that's beautiful because it's subtle, right? Like I love stuff like that. Agreed.
That was amazing. But if it's talking about times where I've actually spoken and done things, I think a really good one for me was speaking at the Council of the Entwined Paths. And the only one that for me that has been better than that is telling my absolutely bonkers Goose Whisper story to all of you in the pub. And that I was sort of thinking about it more, and it was like that was the sort of moment where like I'm not the kind of guy who does like storytelling or any of that kind of stuff really, and I kind of went to the thing. I was just at sort of the pub where everybody was, and this was like a big bar in Dawn, I think, or Wintermark, I can't remember.
Where were we?
But I slapped my hand down on the table. I was like, "This is I've had a vision. This is my story." And what I'd done is when you have Goose Whisper, it gives you this vision, and you go to the sort of referee tent, and they basically have literally a bag, and you just pull out a piece of paper from there. And I pulled out the biggest piece of paper that they had in there, and it was like A4 double-sided crazy naked dolphin man story, and it was phenomenal. Just to be able to tell it all. It was so bonkers.
A wacky metaphor-filled crazy time, wasn't it?
And the crazy thing is, it wasn't just you guys in the pub. This is what I've kind of thought about afterwards. Like I did that, and everyone else who was around us in the pub, who had nothing to do with our thing, actually stopped and was listening to what I was talking about. And it was a super cool moment, right? I had people afterwards who I didn't know come up to me and say like that was really interesting, and stuff. Which for me was like at the time I was so adrenaline rushed I didn't even like acknowledge. But like for me that's a pretty big thing, right? Because I'm not that kind of guy.
Oh, right? Dude, it's so great, right? It was really fun. Yeah. I've got a few just kind of bubbling up in my mind. There's loads that I've like really enjoyed. Like I tell you, like before Ifan died on that battle, holding the line, like G'ing up the troops next to me to be like to hold the line, and people following that shit. Obviously a lot of us ended up dead, so maybe not the best, but it was a cool moment to be like to see, like we're gonna die here. You know what I mean? Like
we are gonna die.
Yeah, we are gonna die. Like it's cool, right? Yeah. To be like to kind of know that you're in an extremely dangerous situation, and the wise thing would be to run away. But they were in a Navarre in the woods. They need to get out of there, even if you're giving the enemy something else to think about. Like that's what you're doing today, right? Awesome. Weird things like I remember I was in the pub on my own, and I went and sat down at a bar and just had a conversation with some. I think they were marchers. Like weird stuff like that, where you just have these little interactions with people. I fucking love that, right? Yeah. Like I love just when you're in a pub, you go and sit down, and whoever's at the table is then this new person that you kind of like learning about and interacting with. I love that stuff. doing my limerick was pretty cool. Hearing, it's not RP that I did, but Sam doing, or Sparrow doing the story of Ifan's death was very emotional. The funeral was fucking amazing. Oh my god, there's so many things that I've really enjoyed. Doing the Senate stuff.
The Senate stuff was pretty huge, right?
I mean, going out there and having to defend your argument is fucking crazy.
You did a great job. Like, honestly, did a great job. I was super proud, dude.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's me. I don't know whether my future's what. I don't know. I need to find a hook for something. I don't know what. But
yeah, I think we're all in different ways looking for those different bits of story that we really want.
I don't want it to be artificial either. Yeah. I want to have something where something interests me and I want to go for it. You know, or work around it, whatever. What other RP bits do I like? Oh, there was one story.
Yeah.
And this actually happened after the event.
Okay.
Well, this is only a couple of events ago. Someone came up to me and was like, "Hi, I'm Dave," and this was on the Thursday night. And he goes, "No, I know who you are. We've met before." And I was like, "Really?" He went, "Yeah, we met IC," and it was a guy in Eurozend,
right?
Who it was the skirmish that you went off on your own.
Oh yeah.
And I was walking around and I was getting worried about you.
Yeah.
So I went to Eurozend by myself, mind.
Yeah.
Armed to the teeth because that's how it was. But and I say to them, "Do you know where Talis Ashbourne is?"
Yeah.
They said to me, "I think he's still out on the skirmish." And I said to him, "Well, you better make sure he gets home safely to Navarre tonight.
Yeah.
Or I'll hold you guys accountable."
Yeah.
Right. This is me in the darkness, basically threatening 3 dudes that I don't know. In hindsight, a little bit rash, but so I ended up basically having threatened them and walked away. I barely thought 2 things about it. I was just trying to if-and about the place and all this stuff. Anyway, the guy I spoke to said, well, within the context of that, there was supposed to be this murder plot of Navari trying to kill Eurozeni.
Yeah.
Right? So he assumed that I was an assassin. I had set some terms that were extremely unreasonable. And when those terms weren't met, I would murder him. He had to have someone... He got his friends to walk him back to his tent. Like, I'm 5'9" and weigh about just over 10 stone.
Yeah.
I'm not the most intimidating person. Turns out, you give me a latex weapon in the middle of the night and some face paint, I look fucking terrifying. Yeah. So, that was pretty cool. So that's not even a moment that I really knew was... But yeah, the guy, this is months later, came up and told me, to be fair, it was a hilarious
story, yeah. I think the thing is as well, you can really enjoy those moments, right? Like when I thought there were assassins out to get me, right? It's cool, right? What a thing to have in the game.
It's better to think that assassins are out to get you and then not actually get you.
Yeah.
Than actually have assassins out to get you and then getting you, right? Like,
I don't know, wouldn't it be interesting to get assassinated?
No! Listen, we've talked about this too much, and right. I think it's more like, I will only want to be assassinated if it's for a fucking purpose.
No, exactly.
Right?
But
it can't just be like, I'm broke, let's mug him anyway.
No. I mean, I do specifically mean...
If I am justifiably a big enough concern that someone would actually have me murdered and players would spend some time to try and come up with a way to murder me good, I would be deeply honoured.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? I
don't think I'm ever going to be that fancy.
No, I don't think there's any... Well... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Do you
reckon
you guys would shank me? That's not a thing.
I would say that I could shank you.
Yeah,
there are terms and conditions, right?
Yeah, I don't think I've done anything too much.
Also, I get the feeling as well, the entwined paths will just vote you the fuck out if anything went sideways. It would be if a vote went your way through manipulation.
Yeah,
that would be it. You might as well. I'm telling you right now, Ian. If you can't express yourself in a political way and the right thing does it, then sometimes, Ian, you gotta take that sort of thing into your own hands.
But yeah, that was a really good question.
Right, and our next question comes from our good friend Robert Burden.
Yes,
who made my shield, which I sung so many praises about earlier. He asked, be interested to hear your thoughts on the entwined paths, good thing, bad thing, the difference between being in a big group makes, problems you have with it. So the entwined paths are Banner, who, beyond our striding, which is made up of our very close friends who we initially went to Empire with. We're now part of a banner, which is a group of stridings and settings that come together. So it's all these different groups coming together for whatever we want it to do.
Yeah,
really.
right. And it's what was really cool about it was that these people are fundamentally our friends, right, as well, and people that we've met, and that we have, like, they're all people. Even if you don't know all the different players, right, you know them by a degree of sight and a degree of shared experience that they all have.
Like, straight off the bat, I would say a banner is a good thing. Yeah. Right? Like, I think the idea of having different people who, you know, we do it as part of a nation, but even in a big nation like Navarre, having a subset or a group that you can have RP with, that you can help each other out, that if someone has an issue or they're new to a thing, then someone else can guide them through it, is really, really great. I think that's, like, immediately a strong position, right?
Yeah, and it takes that whole thing of that we now have the potential to, like, funnel resources and action into proper agendas that we can actually choose to focus on.
We have a voting pool which we could use to get a sympathetic senator into, or to look into things that we care about. I mean, a large group, if functional, can be very, very strong. Now, what's interesting is we've kind of gone through the stage where the Entwined Paths have joined and are in a really beautiful honeymoon state. I say honeymoon state like it's going to end, but I would say, like, it's going to be interesting if there is any division within inside the group and what that would actually mean. What if you say, like, okay, we're all going to try and vote as a group together, and then one of those stridings decide that actually they're not going to vote that way.
Can't vote that way.
What does that mean? If you go against the council's will, are they part of the...
Right now,
boom, RP,
like, everything's been, like, basically agreed on, or with kind of complete unity sort of ratified.
In fact, the ghost of Ifan still haunts over the proceedings as being the only person to ever say anything negative about the forming of the Entwined Paths, right? Like, it's everyone else has been quite positive about it, I would say. Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think it's really fun. I would like to get more involved. I don't feel like I've really been involved in the Entwined Paths that much, because I've had a lot of things elsewhere.
It's been a big part of my game, like being on the council as one of the speakers there. It's been really good. It's like, let me explore a lot of game, and it's like the fact that we have, like, a time when we all meet and we discuss the issues that have been brought to the council, and the fact that the council's a thing that exists and that we set up.
It's quite nice.
It's really cool.
It's quite nice, like, when you're coming into contact with other groups of players. And, like, because you can sometimes be like, wow, we have loads of stuff that we have in common. We see the world in the same way. We want to achieve the same things. Like, we are very unified in Death to the Valorn. Like, it's an absolute, like, what have you done this weekend that's going to make the Valorn, to destroy the Valorn? What have you done? Right? You as an individual. I love this aspect to it, where we have a really, if nothing else, it's a really unifying thing. Like, if... but moving forward, who knows? Like, I get on well with everyone. We're having a really nice time. I think RP will be done in a mature, fun way if we do ever disagree.
Yeah, I think that's going to be that's the whole point of it, actually. Right, to a certain degree, right? To earn those moments
to find people that you trust to really get into some RP with, right? Like, it's I think it's a really good thing. Do we need the Entwined Paths to do that? Maybe not. But it's a really nice, fun to play thing to play around with, and it's a real signifier of the bond of all the people involved, right? I noticed also that we're getting new players in the Entwined Paths, and I like that idea as well, that we're kind of like, there's more new people, and we're kind of, people are sharing their information and feeling things,
and we're happy just to invite people in very often as well. There's a lot of people that I think, like, there's not like an application process or anything like that, right? It's just come and have a chat.
It's done by the individual striding, right? So if an individual striding wants to invite people to their striding, they can do, and by default they become members of the Entwined Paths. I think that's how it works at the moment. But it's very, I like very the autonomy chill. Of it. Like, there's a Native American tribal system that it reminded me of having, like, speakers for each of them, but each of those groups has, like, very different, like, in our group we vote somebody in, right? In another group they literally change leader every single event, right? And it's just like all these different
mechanisms,
ways to approach, and they're completely autonomous when it comes to the actual Entwined Paths meetings.
Everyone's equal.
That's exactly, and you all have a voice and whatever, and everything's well. I think it's a really cool. In fact, I'm gutted. I'm not part of the leadership. So I don't get to go and play in your little.
It's cool. It's a cool piece of game to have, and I think one thing that I really like that we were doing is that we're putting together this idea of our friend John, who plays as the speaker. That basically I think it's the voice. I probably got that wrong. Of basically the group, essentially like the person who kind of, if you like, is the arbiter at the council meetings. Mm-hmm. And tells us what the next agenda is.
The master of ceremonies.
Yeah, right? Master of ceremonies, right? And but he's kind of written this document that basically lists into what his powers are, and it's just a really cool concept that I think everyone is. I mean, it hasn't actually been ratified yet, but I think like the idea of giving someone the power to potentially have like actually more far-reaching power than maybe you would pick in a normal logical situation. It's kind of cool. Like he has the right to veto things. Like that's an interesting power.
My goodness!
Like
you just gave him the ability to veto.
Well, we haven't voted on this yet. But like
that seems very strong.
I know it does. It does seem extremely strong. I think it's actually been amended, and I'm not fully remembering it correctly.
But I like that politicking, though.
Exactly.
I like that politicking.
I like the idea that there could be that role that is a thing that you can get as part of the game. Lets you fuck you with the whole paths a little bit, right? It gives you that little bit of,
There's going to be like. I always like looking. Well, that's not always. That's a ridiculous statement. I have been recently looking external from our group a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So that includes the Entwined Paths and to a certain extent the Ashbourne. Right. I've been going out to the world. Especially, I spent pretty much last event in the Senate building. Literally in the Senate building.
Yeah.
Right. So, so there's a lot of stuff to do with that. And a lot happened in those last couple of events where people got to get to know each other a bit better. They went to battle together. They did a bunch of other stuff. So I feel like I've kind of missed out on a lot of Entwined Paths stuff. Like I'm talking about the Entwined Paths. Like I know the people that I know in it, but there's lots of people I don't know. I'm looking forward to meeting them in future events and seeing what's going on, and maybe going before the council and doing a few propositions of my own. And if Talus would be okay with that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like for example, getting speakers in at the council meetings and things like that's all stuff we'll have to sort of thrash out and things.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really fun.
Cool, right? There's so many little aspects to it.
Do you ever play through like this is fuck it? I'm going to say it anyway. Like dialogue you're going to say in your head.
Yeah, of
right.
Course,
so I've got the picture of the fires burning. The darkness surrounding the trees, the Entwined Paths council are standing around and we're all having a chat, and I'm giving them the absolute beans of a fucking speech. That's like, they're already like, Dave, don't worry, we're going to vote for you anyway, mate. And then they're just like, oh, but fuck it, let him go. Look at him go with his incredibly compelling argument that this is what we should be doing. It's going to be really fun, dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited about getting back into it.
Yeah. No, it's that. In summation, yes, it's been an awesome thing.
Yeah, do you ever play through conversations in your head though that you're going to have?
Yeah, all the time. Like
arguments
basically every
have.
time. Like,
when I say arguments, by the way, I mean that in the term of I'm putting forward an argument rather than arguing with someone. Right?
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of times, especially after events, this happens. Like the things that I'm thinking about immediately that my character would say to other characters as a result of those events and things like that. Like that carries over. But yeah, while I'm at events, very much so, I think there's like a voice saying like, this would be a cool line in a specific situation, should that situation arise.
Well, it's also like, I think things will change a lot as well.
Yeah.
Like I think whatever like plan for a speech you have or anything like that, the chances of it actually happening in exactly the way you are. I think that maybe works with some of the more like, you're being elected to a position, but that's more like practicing a speech, right?
I think, some of it is more about like preparing yourself for ad-libbing, and it just sort of like, loosening your mind to all the different places where you could go with that.
Yeah. Right, shall we move on? Because we could probably talk about the Entwined Paths forever.
Yes.
Anna Kendrick, the very talented Anna Kendrick. Also, Robert and George were both in the intros and outros. I think they're in... No, they won't be in this episode. They're in the last one.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're really good performances. Anyway, Anna says, any moments that made you stop, take a moment and think, God, I love this hobby? Yes, Anna. Yes, there is.
Yeah. There's so many, and it's so hard.
I think there's that moment where, it happens to me still now, where I walk through the Navarre camp, I walk out onto the road, and it's time in, it's a nice sunny day, and then I look over the camp and I'm like, fuck, I love this hobby. As I'm looking over the whole camp and I'm off to do whatever the fuck I'm going to be doing, and all the people are walking around and smiling and having a good time. The orcs are being orcs outside their tent. The marchers are being marchers. The Varushans are being Varush. You know what I mean? It's really. I know that's a bit of a cop out. Is that a cop out?
No, I don't think it is. No, that
happens to me all the time, and I fucking love it. Also, Darius is camped right near the entrance to the thing, so I say hello to him on the way through. And there's a kind of okay. I worked on a cruise ship ages ago, and I remember I had this new person come on the ship who I was training before I got off the ship, right? As a video person. So I'm walking them through the ship, and the ship's like an enclosed thing, right? So you get to know people well, and reputation counts a lot for things. Right. And I walk through the whole ship, and I'm giving her this guided tour of the whole ship. And everyone that we pass, well, not everyone, people I know that pass, stop, shake my hand, ask me how I'm doing. We go up onto the top deck where the passengers are, and there's a guy playing piano. He sees me, and he knows that I like Led Zeppelin, so he then starts playing Led Zeppelin on the piano as I'm walking past. So cool. As a sign, just out of respect and friendship, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm walking around like, all right, dude, and I walk around all the different people, and she's like, man, sure do know a lot of people on the ship, don't you? And it's one of those moments where you're like, wow, yeah, fuck, I've been when I first got here, and no one, and now it's like. That feeling, I get that shit at Empire. Right? When you can walk past and people come up to you and they're talking to you and there's something else and there's like, oh my god, what happened? You see a character, you're like, what happened to you this weekend? Have you've been playing around with that dark magic again?
Like, all of that.
Here, murder stuff. I love it. I fucking love it, dude. Like those sort of moments where you get kind of like just a couple of different things and you're like. I'm grinning now. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's really good.
I think that's a fantastic answer. I think if I go into specific memories...
Yeah, go on. Fuck it.
Like, if I go into specific memories, I think like one of the most potent ones is... I think I went to go and get a drink while we were at Songs and Stories. And I left you there. I quickly went and grabbed a drink or something, came back to the circle. When I got there... It was like the last song that the Navarre sing, basically, where everyone's danced around the fireball. And I'm looking out over the crowd and I see you in the middle with your axe, like frosting it to the air as everyone's sort of singing. And I'm like, fuck, I love this hobby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that was also a fuck, I love this hobby moment for me.
Like seeing, like, I get to see like my best friend like having an awesome moment, and it was and I was having an awesome moment because of it, right? Because the whole thing is just so crazy and awesome and like really special.
Yeah, it's funny. Even now, like the kind of if I've had like bad experiences or negative feelings while I've been there, the really lasting things for me are the really positive, fun ones, and even the little moments that you have there. Like that's the things I'm missing about it. Yeah. Like having a 50th episode now in the middle of all this is like, it's an interesting thing to do because it makes it. I miss it so much, and I'm so excited to do so many things. Like first event, oh my god, there's so much to do. But I also, at the same time, I don't want to have to rush around. I want to just savor it and enjoy it and see what happens. It's like imagine a computer game where every NPC in the game, well, they're not NPCs, they're player characters, but you get what I mean. Can give you some sort of spontaneous RP moment just by talking to them. What a Jesus! That's what makes me love it.
There's so many aspects, just even on like the spectacle of it, you know, and the audio visual sort of masterpiece of just everything working.
Do you know what's funny? A lot of those kind of feelings are when I'm by myself. Because I think there's something about like when you walk by yourself around the camp, you can kind of meditate on what you're watching a bit. When you're with other people, you're often talking. But sometimes when you're by yourself and you walk through an area and you pass some players doing something and then something else is happening somewhere else. I get very nosy as well. When I'm at Anvil, having a quick listen in as you're passing a conversation, I wouldn't really do that. It's not that interesting, but in reality, in the real world. But at Empire, just a mention of that Dawn, Navarre, whatever.
That time that we sat down and we were hearing that group all talking about like an assassination or a crime that they thought they'd come across, and one of them was doing like an investigation on it, and it was just like, and we just were all sitting there eating, right, just eating, and right next door to these people like talking about that, right, and it was like they all had little different theories and things, and it was just like, it was cool because it was like, man, I get to
Lots
just
of little plot points all
Yeah.
walking around. Shall we do the next question?
Yes.
Right then, Orion here. He says, "You guys are hardly noobs now." I mean, there's more to this sentence,
Yeah.
but let me keep going, then we'll break it down. Okay. Okay. You guys are hardly noobs now. Have you ever considered trying crewing for a LARP, or even running your own LARP? Okay, straight off, you guys are hardly noobs now.
Yeah.
I don't know whether just being incompetent, stupid people will always keep us in the noobs category.
That's what I was going to kind of say, really.
It's like,
yes,
other people probably, and I know people who are they're definitely no longer noobs, and they joined after us, right?
Yeah.
But we're not that smart or good at things.
No, it's so true.
There are people that are better than we are, and it's just that's the way it's going to be. That's why I think the podcast is so important, because we show the absolute bottom bare minimum that you need to do to achieve like enjoyment in a LARP. We're like the guy next to you at the gym that's lifting like the tiniest possible weights, and you're like, do you know what? I can lift tiny bit heavier weights than that tiny man next to me. That we're the lowest of the, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's...
So no, I think we're still definitely noobs.
Yeah.
I think we still act like noobs as well. Like we end up bumping into stuff and like experiencing things for new. There's so much of the game.
Everything's still there, right? I still get nervous all the time. I still have like anxieties at different points, and sort of, you know, it tests me in ways that make me feel like a noob, right? And if I feel like a noob at times, then I guess that's all that it really, you know what I mean? Like as you say, combined with the fact like
it was weird when someone said like he said something about. It was something Hefty Yeti said. I can't remember the exact quote now, so I'm going to misquote it, but it was something about me being an experienced, knowledgeable player. I laughed out loud at the idea of me being a knowledgeable player. Yeah. Right? Like, I know so little about the game, but I hope that it's more like you can get enjoyment out of the game by playing it the way that we have, which is kind of like flying by the seats of our pants a lot of the time and just having a good time with it. So.
Also, I think you can get the game and get it in a way that you'll find enjoyment, and you'll be able to enrich the enjoyment of everybody else around you. I think you can get that game without actually having to have complete exposure to everything.
Yes.
In fact, like you'll find little narrow paths,
like I would say,
that you'll latch onto.
For new players, I think the wiki, the rules, read the rules, read your nation brief. Yeah, that everything else you can learn from the new player meetings and everything else. Then you get there on Friday, right? Like have a bit of an understanding how your kit and how your nation are going to affect that kit and your motivations as a character, which can seem daunting, but I mean, reach out to people. But
well, actually, that's a really important point. Like, it's actually like the idea that, you know, it's pretty useful just to have a chat with people and say, what do people, you know, hi, we're going to play in this nation and stuff. Like having the Facebook groups for the different nations, it does give people a really good point to actually like just try things out and ask questions.
It can also make you have like Facebook isn't LARP, like the event. Yeah. So I think sometimes you can kind of get an impression. I sound like I'm saying that really negatively, don't I?
No.
But no, I mean more like it's like you'll hear lots of conversations on Facebook groups, and you'll be like, "This is the most important thing." But there might be people that have been going for 2 years, and that's just a thing that they joke about, right? I don't know where I'm really going with that, but no, I don't know. I think it's a perception thing more than anything.
Yeah, definitely. It's.
Yeah, but Facebook groups are fantastic to meet new people and really basically, you know, learn a lot by asking questions, right? Yeah, getting feedback, making contacts. Mm-hmm. I mean, just
the ability to ask a question, right? And essentially save yourself time, money, worry, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of it is like, you know, is this kit okay? And to be honest with you, if you're giving it a go and you're trying your best with what resources you have, then it's probably okay.
Yeah, I think that the previous episode to this one should be the Soul one with the solo LARPing. And I think like he's a great example of someone who went out there and did it, right? Yeah. I mean, it's admirable, right? Right. So we talked about the first sentence in that one question there, Ryan. Let's move on to the rest of the question, shall we? Have you ever considered trying crewing for a LARP or running your own event? Yeah. Now, I tried to crew an event actually, which was it wasn't an Empire event, but and it was actually, I think it was a player event for a different group. I didn't know much about it, and I was kind of like umming and ahhing. And basically, what happened was the date of it was just when Corona was starting to really kick in.
Yeah,
it was around somewhere in March, I think it was. And I was really hyped to go. And I was going to do an interview. I had a couple of interviews planned as well. So there was an interview right near that part of the world with a couple of dudes who I was going to do it would have been a really cool episode as well. So basically what was going to happen was I was going to go and crew this event. It's a new system. I was going with a couple of people, one person that I knew who was very, very knowledgeable. And I was going to do an episode with that person on crewing events, having just crewed an event, right? Unfortunately, that event got cancelled, so I didn't get to go and do it. I also didn't get to go and do the interview because obviously at that point it was definitely getting to the... It was when the seesaw...
Yeah,
it happened for different people at different rates, but it was it was bad. So, so do I want to crew an event? Yes.
Yeah.
I not only want to, like, for the podcast, I think it'd be really fun to do an episode on it, but for me personally, I would also like to do it. It's a really good way of meeting new people because you're working as part of a team, probably a bunch of people that probably don't know each other that well or different core groups. So I think that's a good thing to do. Also, you can see different systems and different games and learn a lot about them before you necessarily want to invest, before you want to do it. You do get to walk around, I think, and have time where you get to go on RP. But a lot of it is going to be playing, like the one I was going to go on, was like playing a character. There was like a village and there was something sinister going on in the village. And there was
cool.
Fuck, right? Like, you know, you're kind of like walking around and you're kind of like being this character who's like whatever in the village and you know something's going on. You can kind of like drop a really tiny little something in the conversation, but then leave it. Like, really excited by that. So, I would love to crew an event. I don't know whether I'd crew Empire, just because I like playing Empire right now. And it's only 4 times a year.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? It's that the Empire experience is so precious as a player. It would be difficult, I think, to give that up to be a crew member there.
The way I would do it would be if my character died.
Yeah, maybe.
Right, and then I do one crew weekend.
Yeah,
and kind of like do my part and see the behind the scenes and all that stuff, and then come back in with a fresh character. Maybe
it would depend where I was with my character concept of what I wanted to do and achieve in my head as I'm building up to whatever that next event is going to be.
Yeah,
like I have quite a clearish image of what I want my next character to be like.
I do not.
So, like. That's why I think I'm maybe a little bit more blasé, although it won't be at the time when it happens, or if it happens, but a bit more blasé about if I should die or like my character should die or whatever. It's because there's always that there's that thing once you start thinking about that second character, a little bit of you itches at it.
I love Talus is becoming this. There's a thing inside you, Ian. His name is Talus, and even now he's like this little golem voice in your ear. You don't want to kill me. Think of what we could accomplish.
No, yeah.
They need you. They won't figure it out on their own. You're the hero of Bacallian.
Fucking bastard. Yeah, no, it's fucking hell. It's a good experience, dude.
Yeah, so... Right, we've actually got through all the questions now. We haven't answered the running your own event.
Yeah. I don't know.
I would like to see you run an event, and I would help you do it.
Yeah, but I can't see me doing it anytime soon. Like I'd be interested in it at a point in time, but I'm not at that point in time yet.
I think it's interesting where if you asked us that question a year ago or even 6 months ago, we might not. That would be laughable.
Yeah.
But now I think that question is something where it's just like, I'll give some time thinking about that.
Yeah.
I'll think about what I would want. What would I want a player event to look like?
Yeah.
And then be like, what experience would I want to have? How many people would that involve?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll build it from there. But that's something that I'd be happy to give headspace to now.
Yeah.
But I would also like to attend more maybe one-shot events or interesting little, maybe not like Empire, maybe not even fantasy, but explore some different types of LARP.
Yeah.
And be the guy that doesn't know anyone.
Yeah.
Right, so you show up to a World War one, and you get the outfit, you get a good rented one just to do it right, and then you go and do it right, and by yourself with a character, one-shotting it off. Like, that's cool, right? There's a lot more to LARP than Empire. I don't know.
Definitely.
Like, I think if I was going to write a story, that would basically be where I'd be coming at it from, because it would be like, I think there would be, I'm sure there are tropes.
Of course. And in fact, it's not, in many ways, tropier the better.
I do like tropes.
Yeah.
So,
I'm doing this D&D campaign with you guys at the moment, and it's just a straight off rip off of Predator.
And I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah. There's something out there waiting for us. It ain't no man. We all gonna die.
We all gonna die. Yeah, I think it's gonna be like, yeah, but I think like something, but I think also signaling story to players is also fun, right? Like when you're doing something creative, you can be like, well, I think let me put it this way. If you run an event and then you're all sitting down to dinner, you've had a chance to socialize and meet a few people, and then they've got someone keels over and dies at the table, someone's been poisoned.
Yeah.
I mean, you're instantly going to be like, well, this is this story.
Yeah.
This is a murder mystery, and we must find out who did this before the end of the weekend, right? So maybe it's fun to play around with tropes and like look into that sort of stuff. In fact, like I would love that. I always like the idea of having puzzles or different characters of different bits of information that you have to learn together. There's lots of stuff like that. Like, so the more of the kind of like led gamey type film stuff really appeals to me at the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I think I could very easily see, for example, doing a player event with the Entwined Paths and just doing something really super chill. There is a loose storyline, but it's just, a gathering.
I think a gathering, and we do it like it's a gathering.
Yeah,
we say like, boom, we're going to do this IC, so please respect that, and then we just try and smash out a really fun.
Yeah, but and like it would be cool to have some plot points and stuff and a couple of things weeded in, but it's like just present it fundamentally as that part of Empire.
What you don't tell us is that you've handed out a whole bunch of Freddo bars to the crew fighting force. And there's 30 of the scariest people sitting in the woods ready to go and attack us, and you're like, surprise! Isn't this great? It's the skirmish crew.
Yeah.
No, none of them have been drinking. They're completely sober and full of Freddos. They're coming down now.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is but I think it's something, as you say, worth giving some headspace to. But I can't see it as being a near.
No, I would say
at this stage, maybe that will change.
No, I think maybe. Honestly, I feel like we're in LARP limbo right now.
Yeah, it's very hard
because we're still so far away from having another event and wanting to think about that event. So maybe now is the time to start thinking about those things. Yeah. Maybe you listening to this now are going, maybe I should start planning something. And bear in mind, like, I don't think if we were going to do any sort of player event, it wouldn't be for a couple of years.
Who knows? I could say that now and it could change. Right,
yeah.
Like I don't know. Like once I've done a few sessions at LARP and talking to the right people and having the right people help. That's the thing. People
there's logistic people. Yeah. Like I wouldn't feel the confidence on a health and safety level. Like I might have fun with the story and doing NPCs, but there's a whole actual organising event stuff.
Getting a cam.
Like when I went to Blind Dogs, there were people whose whole job it was for safety. Yeah. It was an airsoft event, so it had to be extra safe. But I was very comfortable. I was like, these people know what the fuck they're doing, and there was an incident at the actual event, a medical thing, and they jumped into action. Yeah. It was so well done. Like it was just like I felt completely safe in that environment, and that's what I would want to do for a player as well. Yeah. So I want to be like, and that comes down to RP as well. So maybe it wouldn't be something. Maybe I wouldn't feel comfortable even doing our own standalone LARP with people I didn't already know.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get what
because there's like a certain level of trust that you can have with people that you know to not fuck the pooch basically on the rules and all that stuff,
Yeah, and just like people are willing to go with you on whatever this thing is to a certain degree, right? And obviously you're naturally nervous if you were going to present something like that.
I think that's how I would picture starting anyway. Unless I was part of a team, I think that's a lot more realistic.
I think I would want to talk to people with actual experience running events, and actually have them like work with them. I mean, essentially, it would probably actually become me just saying, "Is there an event you wanted to run, and could we do something?" Right? Because it'd be interesting to just to learn.
I think if we like, I like the idea of coming up with plot, and game and playing characters in that game. All that stuff really appeals to me massively. I think it'd be really fun. And Blind Dogs is a good example of this. Again, they had like these NPCs, and the bar would get busier and quieter, and the paranoia of strangers being in town, and like someone would say like, "Well, there's a lot of people in town tonight, aren't there?" And you're like, "There are a lot of people in town tonight." Like, I did not realise. I should have been looking to see who are citizens and who aren't, because this is a sea full of strangers in the dim light, right? And it's exciting to play those. I played, I think it was a card game or a dice game. It was a dice game with this lady, and it was brilliant art. She was a, and I didn't know whether she was an NPC or a player character. Right? Like, I had no idea. So you end up in a thing where you're like, I think playing those games would be amazing. Yeah.
I think it's just, again, it's time and
upfront cash, I would assume, as well.
Everything. Like, again, logistically,
safety,
like the logistics of it. I know I would get stressed organising a lot of that sort of stuff, right? When it affects other people's like OC aspects of people's game, I would want to do it right.
How about this? Like, as a succinct answer, we would like to go to more player events and learn a bit more about them. It would have to be doing it alongside people that actually knew what they were doing, because of safety and concerns about the story and all that stuff, right? And then if we had enough time to actually do it. They're the three kind of caveat, but
each of them are quite big, to be honest. As I say, I can't see it being a near off thing. I think that would be something to come later. But it's cool that we're even thinking about it. That's ultimately it.
Totally.
This whole episode's been awesome, actually, just for that. Just the opportunity to think about some stuff. And
big thank you to everyone that asked questions, by the way, because it's
and really good questions.
Well, really... it's also like, I'm sure we're kind of, I feel kind of stumped because I just want to play the game now. I've thought about like so much of what I want to do and all that stuff that sometimes it's tough, because I'm like, I'm ready.
Well, I just want to play the game. I have this thing quite a lot where I'm thinking, like, because of where Talis is, and he's actually quite malleable at this point. Like, I spend a lot of time thinking, like, I actually don't know what I'm going to want to go and play Talis as. You know, the path I'm going to want him to maybe play at this point, because it's probably going to have to be closer to the event. You know, because I don't know.
There are people that I know that are saying, like, "Oh, let's organise this and let's organise that." And I think a lot of that stuff is like, let's do it in the field. They'd be much more powerful. Like, it would be, so I don't know, I'm sure people have like really fun icy letters going out to people at the moment, but I feel like a lot of the stuff that I'm already where I want to be with everything I want to do, and I just want to play the game. I'm happy waiting, but man, it sucks.
It's super tough, and just I mean, everything, right? The whole situation and everything around it, in all the different contexts as well.
Hopefully things will get better. Like, we always try and err on the side of optimism here. And also there's a certain level of responsibility for this as well, right? Like, if things aren't safe, I don't want to make anyone sick. I don't want to get sick, and I don't want to make anyone else sick. So let's see where we are for E4.
Who knows?
And if not,
who knows?
If not, we smash out a player event, early doors next year, go to E1, rule like, you know, princes of the universe on our first event, and have a great time. Do you know what I mean? You like Queen's song?
Was it like a Highlander sort of montage?
Very much so, that's kind of what I was going for,
Here we are.
Exactly. And
big, like, the line ends always with a massive guitar smash.
We're rulers of the universe. All of that. Freddie Mercury and just Brian May on guitar. Fantastic. So that could be one next year, basically. And I'm kind of happy with that, to kind of like really just to be like, all right, if we don't get E4, I'm going to fucking smash E1 like a boss next year. I'm going to just really
I hope so.
it.
Well, always. And there's all those things that come of, like, that's what I want to do, right? That's what I want to do, and I'm going to do my best to try and do that. And I think that's cool, right? That, like, and that goes back, like, LARP is the kind of thing that makes me want to do the things, to potentially do the cool things.
Yeah.
You know, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm going to I need to start looking at some law stuff and learning a bit.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'd like to do a little bit of, just so I'm armed to the teeth full of obnoxious arguments by the time I get back. Yeah.
I honestly don't know. But I'm looking forward to that. That's actually a really nice thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening. We hope that you're all right.
Yeah.
I think I hope we didn't get too sad at the end there.
No.
It can be sad, right?
Yeah. But to be honest with you, like the LARP community has just been fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
and I think everyone, as you say, everyone's just hyped to get back to it, and it'll happen. It will happen. You know.
Yeah. I think like we've really appreciated doing the episodes that I have.
Yeah.
Like we've had a couple of people come in and do like voices for the episodes. If you do want to do that, message me on Facebook. I have an email address. Go to the LARP Noobs Facebook page. Get in contact with us. It's cool, like doing the odd episodes that we have done. It's definitely making it easier for us. I hope it's helping you. Thank you so much to our patrons, because you are still helping us out right now. And I can't help but feel that we're not producing enough content, but it's tough, dude. Fuck. So if anyone's like listening to this and goes, I would rather spend my $2 to someone's giving us $20 a month to do something else with. Yeah. We completely understand. We're trying, but obviously there's no LARP.
And also I think all of this, like, it challenges your creativity in different ways, because there's been moments where, in a sense, I've had a lot of time.
We've got out like an episode per month at the moment.
Yeah, actually,
which is actually not bad. Yeah. I'm actually, because I was quite down about it, and then was like, do you know what? All things considered, with the streaming and everything else, we are trying. We're still having fun with it, and but yeah, dude, I don't know. It could be a really long time till we get to the LARP again.
Oh, I hope not. But we'll just keep having these conversations, right? I mean, it's we'll get through it,
dude.
We'll get through it,
dude. Yeah, I completely understand. Yeah. I'm sure, like, the listeners sitting there going, like, yeah, dude. Yeah. What are you gonna do, huh?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
But I am optimistic, and I do think we'll get through it, and and then we can all just have a great time.
Yeah, safety first.
Yeah.
I hope you listening to this are okay.
Yeah.
And I hope your family's okay, and I hope everything's going good for you, and I hope you're having a good time during this long dark period.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you listening to this, and we really support people commenting and supporting the podcast.
Well, the podcast itself, it means something, right? And the fact that people care about it in any way or offer at any time.
Yeah, like we started the episode with. You're 50 episodes down, you animal. Look at you sitting here listening to us rabble on. 50 episodes. You take a look at the things that make you happy in your life. I mean, like, this. Yeah, you savage.
You did it to yourself.
You did it to yourself.
You did it to
Look
yourself.
Look at you here. Look at you now.
50 episodes
50 episodes in. You can't but help but feel like, you imagine, like, looking up at a mountain and being like, I'm going to climb that mountain.
Yeah.
And then you're there, and some episodes are hard work. You have to really get through
Probably
them.
a lot of episodes.
And then you're like, but ever so often there's a little gem of whatever you like from the thing, and then you get to the top of that mountain 50 episodes in, and you look back down and you're like, fuck, that wasn't worth the trip. I don't know how I got here. I have to rethink a lot of things. There are some really good podcasts out there. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are some fantastic D&D podcasts.
Great media out there, just generally. Like,
you're listening to this.
I know. 50
episodes of this shit.
Fucking hell. They did it to themselves.
I'm not going to blame us for it.
No, I'll not be blamed.
I'm not going to take responsibility for it. You could have...
You had all kinds of choices.
Yeah, you had all sorts of options.
You could have walked away at any time.
Exactly, you did this.
And we thank you so much for it.
We really appreciate it.
You guys are awesome. So awesome.
Thank you. Right then, strength for the Empire.
Strength to Navarre.
Jesus.